9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode, albeit last minute planned episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, I have a much smaller channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. Good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much for stopping by. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. I really appreciate your continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, tonight's stream was actually something that I just prepared for tonight, within the last couple of hours. Good evening, Don Armando. Okay. I just decided, you know what? Let me do it. Let me do a live tonight. Tonight's going to be more of a chill live. I don't really have a particular topic. There's a couple of things that I will discuss. And of course, let me just make it clear that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit the link and join the panel and opine regarding anything we discuss, that's fine. As always, if I don't know anything about you, never seen you or heard from you before, I will insist that you come up to the backstage, make sure no one tries to flash anything inappropriate, which will cause the people to take down this stream. So, we'll see how long this thing will last. So, obviously, if there's a lot of people hopping on, it's going to last for quite a bit of time. If no one hops on and no one comments, it's not going to last that long. So we shall see. Tonight I'm doing something else, another thing that is different. I don't have any prepared notes, so I'm just going to go and wing it, so to speak. Now, the first thing I want to talk about. Now, there was a stream that Miss Elite aired earlier today, which I believe has been taken down and put in a channel in Rumble. She was commenting the death of another content creator, which unfortunately this person had the reputation of being a troll. This person also had the reputation of being racist. I don't know too much about him. I don't even remember the person's name. And all I know is this person was half white, And okay, well, we'll see what happens. Um, Half white, half Asian, and they were talking about it, and then there was some trolls um, in the chat that took that expressed the displeasure regarding Miss Ali talking about this person, and made me make this perfectly clear. Uh, as a Christian, I do not believe in delighting in the death of anyone. Okay, and it is sad that this person, for it appeared that he used his time on Earth instead of doing anything constructive, but had some very negative thoughts and actions, and also it was alleged that this person was doxing other people rather than being misleading. And one of the questions Miss Ali asked me was, "Can a person change?" And my response was, "Yes. However, the person has to have the desire to change. The person will have the desire to accept accountability for their actions and then take corrective measures to overcome whatever shortcomings." Okay. Also, another thing that some people have a problem with is the concept of forgiveness. Now, the way I define forgiveness is the following. Okay. It is the state where what the person said or what the person has done no longer affects you. Okay. And I see we have a comment. But yes, person can change, but if they're hard in their hearts, then no. People get too comfortable with the way they are. That's kind of what I said. That's kind of like what I said. Uh, Now, I don't know if this individual, before he passed away, asked for asked for forgiveness from God for their transgressions. You know what? We will never know. Okay. I will say this much: if this person died unrepentant, there's only one place that person can go, which is a place of entire separation from God, which is called hell. That is the reality. Okay. And I also said that what has happened should be a cautionary tale for other people who are racist, other people who have expressed similar views, and other people who lack a moral compass. Because you will sow what you reap. That is the reality. Okay. If you're the type of person that exercise your moral compass, and if you live as a believer, you will spend eternity in heaven. If you did not, there's only one place you will go. Good evening, Femi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Um, tonight is really more of a chill channel. Okay, so I don't have anything planned. Yes, you see, that's true. That is true. And one thing we have to bear in mind, that assuming that we take proper care of our bodies and our minds, we will live to be 70 or 80 years old. Now, some people may live into their 90s, okay. However, whatever length of time that the person lives, um, how they conduct themselves will determine where they're going to spend eternity. Okay, that's the reality. Now, I do have some more information in regards to um, the tragedy that happened in the Jet Set nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Okay, it appears like the owner has been arrested. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully. Uh, uh, I'm not going to, let's see. Okay. So Antonio Espaillat, I believe that's how you pronounce it, who is the owner of the Jet Set nightclub uh, uh, in the Dominican. Okay, come on. Has been arrested after a fatal roof collapse that killed at least 236 people. The event unfolded during early hours of April the 8th during a performance by the merengue singer Ruby Perez, who was among those killed. The victims want to say, I'm sorry, I'm very, very sorry, I'm completely destroyed. The arrest sees the landlord charged with involuntary homicide along with his sister, Maribel Espaillat. It follows new evidence against Antonio Juan, a club employee who told authorities that he had warned the club owners of his concern about the group's safety ahead of the fatal event. They reported urging him to cancel the concert. A statement from the Attorney General's office claimed that both owners to ensure that the Jet Set Club was adequately and expertly repaired, the statement reads. The eventuality of Antonio's arrest has been spewing for some time. Several families of the Hungary deceased, as well as the 180 injured, was officially presses charges against the nightclub boss. Additionally, a local police lieutenant, Virido Rafael Cruz Aponte, died in the incident. Aponte's family, and we're going to. Okay, just give me a moment because. Okay, so now in all fair, no, this is now when this happened back in April. I knew someone that had actually gone to the Jet Set nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Okay, and this is what it was alleged. Okay, that the roof had experienced some structural damages, and that they did allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because we don't know whether it's true or not. Allegedly, that they did a poor job, and then to compound things, they loaded heavy equipment on top of the roof, weakening the structure. Now, of course, again, my condolences go to the family of those who lost loved ones at the tragedy. Okay, so this is like basically this is the Dominican version of 9/11. And and I know, yes, but Femi, what was so sad about the whole situation, that it was reported, particularly on TikTok, that so-called, okay, I'm going to say so-called Christians were rejoicing of the fact of the loss of life, talking about, well, that's what happens when you go into a nightclub and you drink to excess and you engage in sex, blah, 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 blah. Look, as I have said this before, this could have happened um, in a church where they're gathering for a religious service, or it could occur in a Christian music concert. Okay, so, and the fact of the matter is, loss of life is a loss of life. Exactly. Exactly. Now, I see here we have a guest. So let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any intent to copy the material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your right to the image. Some of the views people who may not be agree with. If you do not like the channel, you can block the content. You can block the channel. Good evening, Georgia.
Yeah, you can continue, because I was going to say something when you were done.
Okay. No, I was just simply stating and I'm reiterating the fact that loss of life is loss of life, whether it be at a nightclub, whether it be in a house of worship, or whether it be in an auditorium when they're having a Christian music concert. Loss of life is loss of life. And it's really sad when you have people, and I use the term loosely, Christians, celebrating the death of a large number of people, which is like the Dominican version of 9/11. Your thoughts?
Right. Well, I'm going to get on camera and actually share my thoughts here, okay?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, I know that we talked about that before in regard to how people were delighting in the tragedy in the Dominican Republic, or those who are just being flat out insensitive about what happened too. And exactly as Femis 1:1 said, people can be heartless. Well, Jesus even agrees with you too, Femi, because in Matthew 15, verse 8, and I've always remembered it, it goes like, they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. That very much fits the grade of the people that you were talking about from TikTok at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that going to make you enter God's kingdom? I don't think so. No. After all, you got to remember what he said. Matthew, depart from me, I never knew you. A lot of people, he's going to be saying that to a lot of people who honored him with their lips. So I would really evaluate reevaluate your heart and, better yet, your moral compass as well.
I agree. Okay.
Because that goes very much against the character of Christ. And people are not thinking about God's kingdom on TikTok. Their brains are out of whack. Yeah, heartless brains and hardened hearts are very much out of whack. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't represent the true character of Christ at all, though, because he's a very compassionate character. And if you're not really reflecting that, then I would really reevaluate your walk, okay? Because right now you're being a hypocrite. Every day we got to mortify the deeds of our flesh, you know? Are people doing that? Are you doing that if you are delighting or you're being very unforgiving? I don't think so. I would reevaluate your walk.
Yeah, and I can rest assure you that people who have actually come to the saving knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ do not think that way. Okay, do we have multiple issues to deal with? Yes. However, the true believer will take accountability for one's actions and walk humbly before God, and then deal with their imperfections or other things humbly, and not point the finger at others.
Well, yeah, man, because I've lusted, I've been wrathful, I've been very prideful, I've been envious before, and I'm even just now recovering from gluttony. So as you can see, I've just been guilty of just about every deadly sin you can think about. But I held myself accountable and allowed others to righteously do the same. But it helped me grow. And it feels good being restored, you know?
Yeah.
Because I had to evaluate myself. And that's a good thing. Because then that you're actually walking by faith and not by your hypocritical sight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
there we go.
And us, we each have a moral compass because we are mindful that our actions has consequences.
Exactly. Like I tell you this, yesterday, I had a good conversation with this girl who is a lesbian, by the way, in real time.
Okay.
And she appreciated me. She appreciated my character. She knew I wasn't acting like some modern day Pharisee or scribe. I came from a compassionate angle, and she had some respect for me too.
Mm-hmm.
And it went very smooth. Now, with everything else she has going on, though, it's ultimately going to be between her and the Lord, though. But I would flat out say that no, like what you're into isn't really going to be something that the Lord would honor. But at the same time, he wouldn't really honor a straight couple who live together prior to marriage.
Yes.
So people can't be selective and can't pick and choose what they're going to favor or disfavor. It's not how it works.
Yeah, and that's, see, this is the problem. People love to focus on the LGBTQ community and their actions. Okay. However, when it comes to situations like what heterosexual couples do outside of God's divine plan, it's almost like they're giving a pass. And that's not true. That's not true righteousness in any step in the imagination. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's not striving for righteousness at all. If you're going to be selective about which particular sins you want to zoom in more on, or about a particular community. Is it still sin? Yeah. But so are all these boyfriend and girlfriends who like to sign apartment leases together. I would zoom in on that as well, though, because I'm pretty sure that there are far more than them than anybody else in the LGBT community, to be quite honest. Because the LGBT
Yeah.
community, if you really think about it, though, they're a small community. And I'm pretty sure that there are far more unmarried straight couples who live together now than there are LGBT couples who live together. Just saying.
One thing, yeah. I mean, look, one thing. Okay, one thing is that we have what's called a domestic partnership. Basically, it's a document where a man and a woman, or in this case, two men or two women, can cohabitate in a home, uh, basically more or less functioning as a married couple, but without the license of a marriage.
Kind of like common law marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah, common law marriage. Yeah, I've heard of them.
yeah. In my day, it was referred to as shacking up.
Mhm. Yeah, in my day, we just call them common law marriages, which are not recognized here in the state of Nevada.
Okay. While domestic partnerships are permitted in New York, so that kind of gives you the situation how things in my city and my state.
She says, I don't know what happened to people. Well, I would say this: what happened to people is that they have hardened their hearts and they've become lovers of themselves. And that's to explain all of that stuff in layman's terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, domestic partnerships are not recognized out here in Nevada.
Is it because it's considered more like a conservative state, or is just basically that's not something that people try to pursue?
Not necessarily us being more conservative per se. It's just more of like a personal thing that our state legislator and state government just does not really want to pay mind to at all. And they would much rather you actually have like a specified certificate which can legally recognize your marriage, and so that you're in the system. So that, let's just say, if you ever racked up debt in the marriage, then your significant other would be responsible for it too. But if you have a domestic partnership, no, whoever racked up debt even during the relationship, then that sole individual is going to be responsible for it. That's how it works out here in Nevada, though, because we are what you call a community property state. So that's why some people out here actually do common law marriages, so just to protect each other, though, because since they're not recognized out here, and we are.
I'm surprised you're not out there tonight, witnessing.
No, I can't go tonight though. But it was fun doing it during this week though. But no, I'm called to stay indoors right now and take a break. But yeah, I would love to do that again, and I will. I will definitely do that though when the Lord takes the wheel again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get back out there for sure.
Okay. Now, in all fairness, I usually don't. I don't know if you can hear me because my signal is getting kind of weak. But
I can hear you.
Usually I don't do a stream on my side. I'm sorry.
I can hear you, but what were you saying, Jose?
Can you hear me? Okay. Usually I don't do a stream on a Saturday night So I figured, what the heck? Let's give it a blast. I didn't. And another thing I'm doing tonight is I don't have any prepared notes, so I'm basically not just winging it.
Like an impromptu live stream.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That works.
But yeah, I mean, look, you have to you have to try to do things differently. Now, next week I'm going to be live, but I'm going to be live like later. I mean, I think the earliest I'm going to be live will be 7 o'clock your time on Monday, and then the other time will be 7:30 your time, and then 8 o'clock your time on Friday. So I'm trying to go back to open discussion on Fridays.
Nice. Yeah, that works. But yeah, I understood that you had your event yesterday.
Yeah, I had what's called a sip and paint, where I painted and I sip. While other people were sipping wine, I was sipping soda and water.
Yeah, I know I already asked so, but if me and Don were in your area, would we have been invited?
Oh, I'm sure, yes. Definitely. Definitely. So right now, I'm just thinking about what to do. I mean, on my free time when I go to Atlanta, there's a couple of things I want to do. I'm trying to see this. I seen something about a bus tour that I might do, maybe on a Monday, a Wednesday night, or a Friday night, depending when we're free. Also, take a look at see if there's any like outdoor concerts that I could enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, Atlanta is
so
a
I'm
very
really,
Atlanta
I'm
is a
sorry, go ahead.
very vibrant city. It's very alive, and there's a lot of stuff to do and a lot of things to explore.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I'm happy to say my 2 week vacation was approved.
After all that hassle.
Yeah. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with why it was such a hassle, okay, when you work for a municipal government and you are requesting vacation time, how to determine when they get it is based on seniority. Okay, seniority in title, which is basically how long you've been doing the same job, what have you. It just so happens another colleague was asking for the same time, and person decided to escalate things by involving a union involved regarding a request for 2 weeks of vacation time. So therefore, I reached out to my union as well, and there was a lot of discussion that was held um, regarding it, and I was told that my 2 week vacation was approved. So I will be on vacation the whole week of July the 21st and the week of July the 28th. Georgia, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm alive and well.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of a string I did when I actually stated that I'm not a ghost, I'm alive because unfortunately, um, I click on something on Facebook, and then everyone getting a recorded a pre-programmed message stating that I had passed away.
Wait. What? Huh? Excuse me?
Apparently, someone clicked me some sort of a bug or something, which I clicked it accidentally, and it automatically sent a message to all my contacts on Facebook that I had passed away.
Wow. Man. I hope. Well, I know you did, but I know that you went in there and you clarified everything, though, because, bro, you probably caused a lot of people's, well, not you, though, but the accident caused a lot of people to become very heartbroken.
Actually, another YouTube contact creator actually called me and asked me, "Am I okay?" Yeah, because I got a message stating that you died.
Well, what's truly sad is that would be somebody, well, somebody would get a huge kick if that were really the thing, but it all ties back into a moral compass issue, you know?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Some people, their moral compass has been disabled, to say the least.
Not us. Not us. We don't even wish that
No,
on our worst enemies.
no, no. But can I ask you a question? Have you actually had to dealt with any trolls on your channel?
On TikTok, every once in a while. On here, like every once in a while. But not constant like the Mr. guy who was trying to.
Okay, excuse me. Before we continue, I'm
Oops,
gonna
oops,
ask that
oops. Okay,
we're
yeah.
not gonna mention we're not gonna mention his name. We're not gonna mention the name of his associate. Okay, no
Well,
offense. Please continue.
man, I wish I could edit that out now.
Uh,
Or should I just say, or at least the person who was saying that you were an illegal immigrant? How does that sound?
let's just say he is a member of the circus.
Okay, another member of the circus who was saying stuff
Mhm.
like that. No, I have not dealt with that. No.
Okay.
It happens every
Well,
once in a while, though, but I don't know. I think they just get tired of hearing the word God and Jesus all the time, to be quite honest, to where they just don't even want to bother. Well, if you come on over here, though, expect to feel that evangelistic spirit, you know?
um, it's kind of okay. I think one person said it best when it comes to like Christian topics or anything that sounds remotely Christian. They tend to avoid it like the plague.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because it just that it seems like if they come across anything remotely Christian, it just reminds them of the fact that they have to take accountability for their actions, and some people are just not prepared to do so.
Exactly. That's what it's truly all about, though. It's also about really holding yourself accountable and even having somebody righteously hold you accountable. And who wants to be held accountable for stuff that they feel justified in doing?
That is very true.
Mhm.
Sad, but true.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, before I forget, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, whether you be the biological fathers, the adoptive fathers, the stepfathers, the grandfathers, the uncles, or the cousin or the brother or any male that provided a positive male parental influence. Happy Father's Day to all of you.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, whether you are a father of a dead child like myself or all of your children are actually living.
Yes. Good
Even my
evening, Georgia. Good evening, Irving. This is oh god. I just had a senior moment.
Yeah, you called
Uh,
Irby or Jor. Okay.
well, at least I didn't. At least I didn't make any light about his Obama one. But then again, that's near here nor there. So tonight's it's an impromptu stream. We don't have any notes. We don't have any particular topic. We're just basically shooting the breeze.
Oh, that's funny though. You called him me.
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, I heard this about every conceivable mispronunciation of my name, and my name's not that hard to pronounce.
Jose
I mean, it's
Negron.
not like yes, I mean it's not like I have a last name like Concepcion or Villanueva or something like that. But some people manage to muck up my name. But that's neither here nor there. Um, Irby, if you want to hit the link, it's been pinned, so you can come and basically shoot the breeze. Um, Same thing applies to anybody that's watching on the clouds. Again, if I don't know you or haven't heard you, I would insist you camp up in the backstage because I don't want the good people you two taking down the stream because people decide to do anything nasty. So,
Well,
but
at least I would say on YouTube, I will tell you this, it's been a bit quiet.
yes,
Well, yeah, I guess so. It's been a bit quiet.
yeah, I see there was a little bit of chatter in Discord earlier tonight. We're not going to mention it here, but there was a little bit of this chatter.
Yeah, yeah. So the other guy tagged me in a video though of a video about a woman who was ranting and raving about how some of us are quote unquote fake Creoles. I'm like, okay, you guys can come onto my page and see my whole genealogy and my whole family. And there's nothing fake about that. And that is also another part of our unchangeable identity. So there's nothing fake about that. I also just come from that line of the Creoles who migrated over to places like Los Angeles, California, and the Bay Area, California. And yeah, a lot of us have really become very, very Americanized, by the way, and just grew up with the surrounding culture. But that doesn't really make us quote unquote fake, even though a lot of us don't really have strong cultural ties, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if anything, like the whole Creole language, Corey Vinny, that's the name of the language, though, it's honestly becoming extinct if you think about it. It was a
Which
language that developed in the 1740s, though, and since then, only very few people in Louisiana speak it. But what's up?
which brings me an interesting question. Do you have people in your in your community try to gatekeep regarding who is considered Creole, who's not considered Creole?
Yes, you do also have even those who get very like legalistic about it too, and even supremacist about it as well. But
Mhm.
clearly, you already know me, man. I do not put my ethnic identity first at all. Those are the types who are all for race first, that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, because at the end of the day, it's a temporal, fleshly identity that's not coming with us.
Yes. Well, I'm sure. Excuse me. I'm
Yeah,
sure
and then
that we have yeah. I'm sure we have people in Latinos who try to gatekeep as well. Who's a Latina? Who's not considered Latino?
yeah, and oftentimes they are done by people who have self-aggrandizing motives and people who do nothing but stir up beef and jibber jabber back and forth with other Latinos too. And that all looks very counterproductive to their whole message, by the way. And the same
Yes.
even extends to, I guess, those of my particular ethnic identity as well. Because oftentimes you're going to see them jibber jabbering among each other as opposed to whoever their purported enemies are.
Yes. I mean, look, it is unfortunate we have certain individuals that like to gatekeep on having, even to the extent when people argue which group speaks the more correct form of Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, like that other guy, which, yeah, I won't say his name though, but let's just say he's in that category of being the Dominican nationalist. And we all know who he is, though. Just look at him,
Mhm.
for example, though. Very irrelevant, and his message didn't really get him that far. And if
Yeah,
anything, a lot of other Dominicans don't even like him, though, and it just goes back in and proves my point in regard to how you're going to see a lot of the extremist types who are just going to jibber jabber among themselves as opposed to their targeted ops.
yeah. I mean, look. Let me tell you one thing we need to bear in mind. Like, there are localized dialects. Okay, like for example, you can tell the difference between someone that was born and raised in the Northeast compared with someone born in the South because of the way they express themselves, and also those who born and raised in the West. Okay, they all speak the same language. It's just that their dialects are different. The same thing applies for when it comes to Spanish. We have a certain dialect that Puerto Rican speak. There's a certain dialect that Dominican speak, and there's certain dialects regarding each different nationality.
Yes.
So, when I hear people talk about, well, Dominican speaks better Spanish than Puerto Ricans, and Puerto Rican speaks better Spanish than Cubans, and Cubans speaks better Spanish than Mexican, and Argentine speaks better Spanish than everybody else. And it's like, you all speak Spanish. It's just that what's different is the dialogue, it's the dialect. Okay,
Different dialected
and
accents. Yeah.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
Yep, different dialect and accents.
Exactly. And also, we have to bear in mind that there's certain words, certain phrases don't have the same meaning. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. The Spanish word coger, which means to take or grab. Okay, if you say that to a Mexican, basically what you're saying to them is a word that starts it's the Spanish version of a word that starts with the letter F and ends with the letter K. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
say what that means.
Yep. You would have to say recoger.
Or usar, or
Yep.
utilizar,
Mm-hmm.
but you never say coger.
Yeah, or like how you see sometimes that catchphrase in the Dominican Republic. What is it? Que lo que? You say that to a Mexican,
Que
they're
lo
gonna be
que.
like, "What? Yeah, que lo que?" They're gonna be like, "What? What do you mean?"
Yeah, sorry. ¿Qué
They're gonna
pasó?
look at you like you're weird if you say that to a Mexican.
Exactly.
But no, Dominicans totally get what it is. Que lo que? Or como tú ta. But in Mexico, they're gonna be like, "What? Speak English. I mean, speak Spanish."
I mean, look, let me tell you something. When I started dealing with Dominicans and things of that nature, I have to be mindful that they have their own different slang, okay? Uh, and also different, okay, different words for a pen, like they'll call a pen un lapicero. Do not ask me why. I don't know, but it's
Well, you're
a
your
pen,
lady.
instead of calling it a pluma, they call it lapicero.
Yeah, pluma. Then there's bolígrafo. That's another one too.
Hmm.
Like fuego, or you could even say el incendio.
which which means that those who are trying to learn Spanish, who who for those that English dominant, it can get very confusing very quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's why when you're taking Spanish courses, they don't really talk about that. They just want to teach you just very general
Yeah.
Spanish.
Yes.
But when it comes to all the unique catchphrases and slangs and all that stuff, you're on your own.
Yeah. But I'm glad there are YouTube channels out there that can help educate those people regarding slang words that Dominican use. And you got to
Yeah,
be careful in what sense.
agreed. And I was wondering, speaking on a related note, so why isn't your Dominican lady able to come out and visit you? What's going on?
Okay. Her
I'm worried.
vacation request. Her vacation request was denied.
Are you able to go and see her then?
Uh, at this point, I don't have the financial means to do so. But we're talking about now her coming over at Christmas time.
Well, how about this, Jose? Let's just say hypothetically, if I had the money, could I pay for your trip then?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I will have to like
Yeah.
discuss it.
What I would do though is that I would actually have you stay down there for at least a week and a half with her. Well, in a hotel, you guys have to stay separate because for one, you two are not married. But yeah, man, I would pay for your Airbnb
Okay. I
and
will have
your.
to discuss. Yeah.
How does that sound?
Sounds good. I will have to discuss it. I will have to discuss it with her. But it's just that like I said, I was disappointed as well because when it comes to, you see, when it comes to requesting vacation time, I mean, it's not like I can just do it at the last minute. I have to like put in my request saying weeks ahead of time, and then basically hope that nothing's comes up. Um, so right now the plan is basically on Christmas time, which means she's gonna have to get a coat because she's not used to spending winter in New York.
Oh yeah, because she lives right there on that equator where it's warm all year round.
Yeah. So basically, if the temperature reaches below 80 degrees, that's like their version of winter.
Yes, yes, I've always noticed that. So let's just say like if it dropped down to like 73 degrees, they're acting like it's the North Pole. If you notice that?
So you
Even
can just
though
imagine.
yeah. Hmm. Go on.
So you can just imagine spending a week in New York in December when the temperature can be in the 30s, which is like basically near fate of freezing time for them.
Hmm. Because yeah, like if it's 73 degrees Fahrenheit in the Dominican Republic, yeah, it's considered to be freezing to them. When in fact, to me, it's like I could just take my shirt off and walk around like it's nothing.
I mean, could you imagine a person that never been to New York come to New York in December?
Uh huh. That'll be wow. That'll be a nightmare. That'll be torturous.
Yes. And I've said to her, should we get married? You're going to be living in New York, so you're not going to have like 80 or 90-degree temperature all year round. I mean,
Yeah, she'd have to deal with all four seasons.
yes.
Whereas in the DR, it's just one season all year round.
So it's basically humid or rain, humid or rain. I mean, it's basically what it is over there.
And it looks like all their highs are going to be in the mid 80s all week. And because I'm looking at the weather forecast for Santo Domingo, yeah, and it looks like their highest it's going to be 84 degrees.
Uh-huh. I see. Well, look, it's something we're gonna have to it's something that we're gonna have to discuss, and we just take it. I mean, like I said, she was disappointed, so was I. But what can you do? There's not much you can do.
Mm-mm.
So I will use the time. The week of the 21st is just basically July the 21st. I'm just gonna relax and take it easy and get up late. Which for me, getting up late will be like about 7 o'clock in the morning because I'm usually up around 5. And and then the following week I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia.
Enjoy. Well, Zaya,
Yeah.
man, I gotta cut our time now because I don't know why I'm getting so sleepy right now.
Uh, I
Getting
get
hot,
it. Don't.
it's
Yeah.
getting hot
Well,
over here too.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for stopping by.
Yeah, have a great day though. But yeah, and then I worked out and I walked a lot too, so I'm gonna rest
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Okay. So have a good night.
Thank you, thank you. What are you gonna be up to for the rest of the night though?
Mhm. I'm probably gonna end this string like in about maybe 5-10 minutes. I mean, like I said, this is something that this was an impromptu stream.
Nice. Okie dokie. Well, you have a blessed evening, though, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that you and her cannot really coordinate, and I wish I could pay for your trip.
Well, I mean, look, things like I said, things like this happen. So there's really, you know, you just have to take it in stride. That's all.
For sure. Well, yeah. Well, tell her I said hello.
Will do.
Take care.
So take care. Well, that was nice. Now, now I'm just gonna add one more. Excuse me. I'm just gonna share a little bit. Excuse me, a little bit more regarding the situation with Jet Set, and then after that, I'm probably gonna call it a night. So let me just see if I can share my screen. So it seems like okay. So let's just give it a moment. Hopefully the image will load. Okay. Now this is an article I just came across today. It is alleged that the Jet Set owner nightclub operated with expired permits and without fire department authorization. Now this is going to be interesting. I don't know how true this is, but just to read, the Jet Set nightclub, which the roof collapsed on April the 8th during a massive party, was operating with expired permits and without the current authorization of the fire department or the Ministry of Public Works, according to the accusatory filed by the public ministry in a request for a coercive measure against the owners of the establishment. Antonio Espaillat and Maria Espaillat de Barras, the authorities state that the premises did not comply with the minimum safety certifications to operate as a mass entertainment center. The establishment land use permit had expired since 2022 and did not have updated certification required evacuations, fire systems, or structural resistance, states the court document. The tragedy at the Jet Set nightclub occurred during a party where the renowned merengue singer Rupi Perez was performing, who was singing at the time of the collapse, and among more than 235 registered deaths in the event. In addition, more than 170 people were injured. The prosecution maintained that despite having been notified on several occasions by municipal inspectors and safety technicians, the defendants decided to maintain the operation of the business, assuming the risk that ultimately materialized with the catastrophic consequences. The negligence of the Jet Set nightclub as part of the set of elements that the notably the request for pretrial detention for Antonio Espaillat for 18 months, as well as precautionary measures for Maribel Espaillat, including house arrest, prohibition leaving the country, and periodic reporting. The file also denounces the omission of basic safety protocols, which among the other irregularities turned out to be the Jet Set nightclub's case into one of the biggest city tragedies in recent history in the Dominican Republic. And we've got a pocket here. So it looks like they didn't have current permits to operate. And if that's the case, that's negligence, okay, on their part. Also, we're talking about civil litigation. So what I will do is if I do come across any additional information regarding the Jet Set tragedy, I will bring it to your attention. And again, it is sad that things like this have happened. It's also sad that it is true that they did not have the permits in order to operate a nightclub because it seems like they were more concerned about making money and not concerned about their safety. And again, I'm gonna have to say alleged because I cannot prove it the other way. Yes, rest in peace to your cousin as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't planning to be on here live more than about an hour, and it's been about an hour. I might do these impromptu lives more often, and usually I don't do any stream without any notes. So I think it was pretty good considering how everything went out. But again, our hearts go to the families of those who passed away, and the ones responsible need to face justice. So just is to let everybody know, I will be live on Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be talking about how to give your testimony. So basically, I'm just going to explain and break it down what it is. And I believe in the ABC method, which is authentic, brief, and Christ-centered. Because I have heard people, they'll take something like the shit meant to be a 5-minute testimony, and the next thing you know, it's a two-hour dialogue with information that need not be included. Okay. So with that being said, huge shout out to everyone in the chat. Huge shout out to those who are watching the clones. And of course, huge shout out to my friend Georgia for stopping by. And of course, a huge shout out to all the fathers, whoever they are. And I'm going to close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and peace.